The observation deck of the Celestial Arbiter, a massive alien research station orbiting Earth, hummed with activity. A council of scientists from across the galaxy had gathered, their varied forms silhouetted against the blue glow of the planet. Below, Dr. Xyloth, a towering insectoid figure with iridescent wings, adjusted the holographic display with a flick of her clawed appendage. The screen flickered to life, showcasing a montage of human behavior, bustling cities, raging wars, and breathtaking feats of engineering. Fascinating. Xyloth buzzed, her voice a blend of curiosity and unease. Their biology is baffling. They can survive extreme temperatures, heal from grievous injuries, and even adapt to low oxygen environments. Their resilience is unparalleled. Dr. Vreen, a reptilian xenobiologist with scales that shimmered like oil, hissed in agreement. But their aggression. They wage war over trivialities, create weapons of mass destruction, and even harm their own planet. They are a danger to themselves and others. Dr. Krell, a gelatinous psychologist who pulsed with faint bioluminescence, added, and their creativity. It's terrifying. They imagine the impossible and then make it real. They've gone from primitive tools to space travel in mere centuries. The council murmured in agreement, their voices a symphony of clicks, hisses, and hums. After hours of deliberation, Xyloth raised a clawed hand for silence. The evidence is clear. Humans are highly adaptable, resourceful, and unpredictable. They are a threat to galactic stability. I move that we classify them as highly hazardous and recommend immediate quarantine of their planet. The vote was unanimous. Meanwhile, aboard a small research vessel in Earth's upper atmosphere, Captain Emily Carter adjusted her headset and frowned at the readings on her console. This doesn't make sense, she muttered. The atmospheric pressure just spiked, and now there's some kind of energy signature closing in fast. Probably another glitch, said Dr. Marcus Mac Thompson, leaning back in his chair with a smirk. The engineer's sleeves were rolled up, revealing arms covered in tattoos of schematics and equations. This bucket of bolts hasn't been the same since you decided to upgrade the thrusters last month. Hey, those upgrades saved our hides when the solar storm hit. Emily shot back, her sharp green eyes narrowing. And don't call my ship a bucket of bolts. Sophie Ramirez, the team's artist in residence, looked up from her sketchpad, her dark curls bouncing as she laughed. Relax, you two. If it's not a glitch, maybe it's aliens. Wouldn't that be exciting? Duke Wildcard Jackson, lounging in the corner with his boots propped up on the console, grinned. Aliens. Sweet. I've been practicing my first contact moves. Do you think they'll be impressed if I backflip off the airlock? Before anyone could respond, the ship lurched violently. Alarms blared as the lights flickered. Emily gripped the controls, her knuckles white. This is no glitch. Brace yourselves. A blinding beam of light engulfed the vessel, and the world dissolved into chaos. When Emily regained consciousness, she found herself in a sterile, hexagonal chamber with walls that pulsed faintly with alien glyphs. The air smelled faintly of ozone and something metallic. Groaning, she pushed herself up and scanned the room. Mac was already on his feet, poking at the walls with a multi-tool. Sophie sat cross-legged on the floor, sketching furiously in her notebook, while Duke was attempting to climb the walls like a spider monkey. What the hell happened? Emily demanded, her voice sharp with authority. Best guess? Mac said, not looking up from his tinkering. We got abducted by aliens. And before you ask, no, I don't know how to get us out of here. Yet. Sophie held up her sketchpad, showing a rough drawing of the chamber. I think it's beautiful. Look at the symmetry in these glyphs. It's like they're trying to tell us something. Duke dropped from the wall with a thud. Or maybe they're just really into interior design. Either way, I'm bored. Let's break something. Emily pinched the bridge of her nose. Focus, people. We need to figure out where we are, who brought us here, and how to get home. Mac, keep working on the walls. Sophie, see if you can decode those glyphs. Duke, try not to break anything important. As the team sprang into action, a panel on the wall slid open, revealing a trio of alien scientists. Xyloth, Vreen, and Krell stared at the humans with a mixture of fascination and apprehension. Subjects are awake. Xyloth buzzed, her wings twitching nervously. Proceed with caution. Remember, they are highly hazardous. Emily stepped forward, her posture confident despite the surreal situation. Who are you, and what do you want with us? Xyloth hesitated, then spoke in halting English. We are scientists. You are specimens. Your species has been classified as a threat. You will remain here for study. Max snorted. Specimens? Lady, you've got the wrong humans for that. We're more the break out and cause trouble type. Sophie tilted her head, studying the aliens with wide-eyed curiosity. You're afraid of us, aren't you? That's why you're keeping us locked up. Duke cracked his knuckles. Fear's a good start. Let's give him something to really be scared of. Emily held up a hand, silencing the group. We're not here to cause trouble. But if you think you can keep us locked up, you're in for a surprise. Humans don't do well in cages. The aliens exchanged uneasy glances. Xyloth's wings buzzed louder. Containment breach protocol activated. Secure the specimens. As the panel slid shut, Emily turned to her team, a determined glint in her eye. All right, people. Let's show these aliens just how hazardous we can be. The chamber's walls began to hum ominously, but the humans were already in motion. Mac pried open a panel, revealing a tangle of alien circuitry. Sophie traced the glyphs with her fingers, murmuring under her breath. Duke cracked his neck and grinned. This is gonna be fun. Emily squared her shoulders, her mind racing with possibilities. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and light years from home. But if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was turning the impossible into the inevitable. The aliens had made their first mistake. They'd underestimated humanity. And now, they were about to pay for it. The hexagonal chamber hummed with an eerie, otherworldly energy as the humans scrambled to make sense of their predicament. Emily Carter stood at the center of the room, her sharp green eyes scanning the pulsing glyphs on the walls. Mac, what's the status on that panel? She asked, her voice steady but edged with urgency. Marcus Mac Thompson crouched by the open wall panel, his multi-tool whirring as he probed the alien circuitry. Give me a second, Captain. This isn't exactly IKEA furniture. Whoever built this place didn't leave an instruction manual. Sophie Ramirez knelt nearby, her sketchpad abandoned as she traced the glowing glyphs with her fingers. These symbols, they're not just decorative. They're a language. I think they're instructions. Or maybe a warning. Duke Wildcard Jackson, meanwhile, was busy testing the chamber's limits. He'd managed to wedge himself into a corner and was attempting to climb the smooth walls like a rock climber. You know, he grunted, if these aliens wanted to keep us contained, they should have made the walls less climbable. Emily shot him a look. Duke, get down before you break your neck. We don't need another problem right now. Relax. Captain, Duke said, dropping to the floor with a grin. I'm just saying, if they're so advanced, you'd think they'd have better security. Max snorted. Yeah, well, they probably didn't account for a bunch of humans with a knack for causing trouble. As if on cue, the chamber's humming grew louder, and the glyphs began to pulse faster. Sophie's eyes widened. Guys? I think we triggered something. Emily's jaw tightened. Mac, how much longer? Almost there, Mac muttered, his fingers flying over the circuitry. Just need to reroute this. And got it. With a spark and a hiss, the chamber's door slid open, revealing a dimly lit corridor beyond. Emily didn't hesitate. Move out, stay close, and keep your eyes open. The corridor was a labyrinth of twisting passages and glowing panels. The air thick with the scent of ozone and something faintly organic. The humans moved cautiously, their footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. This place is like a spaceship designed by M.C. Escher, Sophie whispered, her voice tinged with awe. It's beautiful, in a creepy kind of way. Focus, Sophie, Emily said, though she couldn't help but admire the alien architecture. We need to find a way out of here before the aliens realize we're loose. Mac tapped at a nearby panel, his multi-tool emitting a series of beeps. According to this, there's a control room about 200 meters ahead. If I can access their systems, I might be able to shut down the security protocols. Or blow us all to kingdom come, Duke added cheerfully. Emily ignored him. Lead the way, Mac. Sophie, keep an eye out for anything useful. Duke, try not to touch anything. They hadn't gone far when the sound of skittering footsteps reached their ears. Emily held up a hand, signaling the group to stop. Get down, she hissed. They ducked into a shadowy alcove just as a group of alien drones rounded the corner. The drones were small, spider-like machines with glowing red eyes, scanning the corridor methodically. Sophie's breath caught. What are those things? Trouble, Mac whispered. If they spot us, we're toast. Duke grinned. Or we could take them out. I've always wanted to fight robot spiders. Emily shot him a warning look. Not unless we have to. Let them pass. The drones moved closer, their sensors sweeping the alcove. Emily held her breath, her hand hovering over the makeshift weapon she'd fashioned from a piece of broken machinery. Just as the lead drone turned toward them, Mac tapped his multi-tool, sending out a burst of static. The drones froze, their lights flickering, then moved on. Sophie let out a relieved breath. Nice save, Mac. Don't thank me yet, Mac said, his expression grim. That was just a temporary fix. We need to move. The control room was a vast, circular chamber filled with holographic displays and alien consoles. Mac immediately set to work, his fingers flying over the controls as he tried to make sense of the alien interface. This is incredible, Sophie said, her eyes wide as she took in the room. It's like a symphony of light and sound. Less gawking, more helping, Emily said, though she couldn't deny the room's strange beauty. Mac, how's it going? Almost there, Mac muttered. Just need to bypass this firewall. And got it. The holographic displays flickered, then shifted to show a map of the station. Emily leaned in, studying the layout. There's a hangar bay on the other side of the station. If we can get there, we might be able to commandeer a ship. Assuming the aliens don't stop us first, Duke said, leaning against a console with his arms crossed. As if on cue, the room's doors hissed open, revealing a squad of alien guards. The guards were tall, insectoid creatures with blaster, rifles, and glowing visors. They raised their weapons, their leader barking something in a guttural alien language. Emily didn't wait for a translation. Move! The humans scattered as the guards opened fire, energy bolts sizzling through the air. Mac grabbed a console and flipped it over, creating makeshift cover. Sophie ducked behind a holographic display, her sketchpad clutched to her chest. Duke, ever the wild card, charged straight at the guards, using a piece of broken machinery as a club. Duke, you idiot! Emily shouted, but there was no time to argue. She grabbed a fallen blaster and returned fire, her aim precise despite the chaos. Mac tapped furiously at the console, his multi-tool sparking. I'm rerouting power to the doors. If I can seal them. The doors slammed shut, cutting off the guards. The room fell silent, save for the sound of heavy breathing. Duke grinned, wiping a streak of alien goo from his face. Told you I could handle it. Emily shook her head, but there was a hint of a smile on her lips. Let's not push our luck. Mac, can you get us to the hangar bay? Already on it, Mac said, pulling up a new map. There's a maintenance tunnel that should get us there without running into more guards. Sophie looked around the room, her expression thoughtful. You know, for a bunch of hazardous humans, we're doing pretty well. Emily nodded, her resolve hardening. Let's keep it that way. We're not done yet. How much farther? Sophie whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the conduits. According to the map, We should be close to the hangar bay, Mac replied, his tone clipped. Assuming the aliens haven't changed the layout. Since I downloaded the schematics. Optimism, Mac. Emily said, her voice steady. We need it right now. Duke snorted. Optimism won't stop alien blasters, but, hey, if we die, at least we'll go out in style. Emily shot him a look over her shoulder. Nobody's dying today. Not if I can help it. The tunnel opened into a larger chamber, its walls lined with strange pod-like structures that glowed faintly. Sophie paused, her eyes wide with fascination. What are these things? Mac stepped closer, examining one of the pods. Some kind of stasis chamber, maybe? Or, before he could finish, the pod hissed open, revealing a humanoid figure encased in a translucent membrane. The figure twitched, then slumped forward, the membrane splitting as it fell to the floor. Emily raised her makeshift weapon, her heart pounding. Stay back! The figure groaned, then lifted its head, revealing a familiar face. Captain Carter? Emily blinked in disbelief. Lieutenant Harper? What the hell are you doing here? Harper, a fellow astronaut who had gone missing months ago, struggled to his feet. Long story. Short version. The aliens grabbed me during a routine mission. I've been in that pod ever since. Mac frowned. Why would they keep you alive? Harper shrugged weakly. Experiments, maybe? They've been studying humans. For a while now. I overheard them talking about some kind of classification system. Emily's jaw tightened. We know. They've labeled us as highly hazardous. Harper barked a laugh. Sounds about right. But if they think they can contain us, they're in for a rude awakening. Sophie stepped forward, her expression sympathetic. Are you okay? Can you walk? Harper nodded, though he looked unsteady. I'll manage, but we need to move. The aliens know you're here, and they're not happy. As if on cue, the chamber's doors hissed open, revealing a squad of alien drones. The drones' red eyes glowed menacingly as they advanced, their blasters humming with energy. Emily didn't hesitate. Fall back, into the tunnel. The group retreated, Harper leaning on Sophie for support. Mac tapped furiously at his multi-tool, sending a burst of static that temporarily disabled the drones. That won't hold them for long, he warned. Then, we need to move faster, Emily said, her voice sharp with urgency. The tunnel led to a larger corridor, its walls lined with glowing panels that pulsed in time with the station's heartbeat. Emily paused at a junction, her flashlight sweeping the area. Which way, Mac? Mac consulted the map on his multi-tool. Left. The hangar bay should be just ahead. They moved quickly, their footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. Harper kept pace, though his breathing was labored. You guys have a plan, right? Working on it, Emily said, her tone clipped. Right now, our priority is getting off this station. Duke grinned. And if we can blow it up on the way out, even better. Sophie rolled her eyes. Priorities, Duke. The corridor opened into a vast hangar bay, its ceiling lost in shadow. Rows of sleek alien ships lined the walls, their hulls gleaming in the dim light. Emily's eyes lit up. There. That's our ticket out of here. Mac frowned. Assuming we can figure out how to fly one. We'll figure it out, Emily said, her voice firm. We don't have a choice. As they approached the nearest ship, the hangar bay's doors slammed shut, and the lights flickered on, revealing a squad of alien guards. The guards raised their weapons, their leader stepping forward to address the humans in halting English. Surrender. You cannot escape. Emily raised her weapon, her expression defiant. Watch us. The guards opened fire, energy bolts sizzling through the air. The humans scattered, taking cover behind the alien ships. Mac tapped furiously at his multi-tool, trying to access the ship's controls. I need more time. We don't have time, Emily shouted, returning fire. Sophie crouched beside Harper, her sketchpad clutched to her chest. Any ideas? Harper grinned weakly. Yeah, let's give them a taste of their own medicine. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small glowing device. I swiped this from the lab. It's some kind of energy disruptor. If we can get close enough, it might disable their weapons. Emily's eyes narrowed. Do it. Duke, cover him. Duke grinned. Finally, some action. Harper and Duke darted from cover, weaving through the hail of energy bolts. Harper activated the disruptor, its glow intensifying as he hurled it into the midst of the guards. The device exploded in a burst of light, sending a shockwave through the hangar. The guards' weapons sputtered and died, their visors flickering. Emily didn't waste the opportunity. Now, Mac! Mac slammed his hand on the console, and the ship's hatch hissed open. Got it. Let's move. The humans scrambled aboard, the ship's interior a maze of alien controls. Mac took the pilot's seat, his fingers flying over the console. Hang on. This might get bumpy. The ship roared to life, its engines humming with power. The hangar bay's doors began to open, but the guards were already recovering, their weapons coming back online. Emily leaned over Mac's shoulder. Can you get us out of here? Mac grinned. Hold on to your hats. The ship shot forward, narrowly avoiding a barrage of energy bolts. The hangar bay's doors were still closing, but Mac aimed for the narrowing gap. This is gonna be close. The ship scraped through the doors, its hull sparking as it burst into open space. The humans cheered, their relief palpable. But their celebration was short-lived. The station's defenses came online, targeting the fleeing ship. Emily's jaw tightened. We're not out of the woods yet. We've got incoming! Emily Carter barked, her eyes locked on the rear display. Two sleek alien fighters had launched from the station, their weapons glowing ominously as they closed the distance. I see them, Mac muttered, his voice tight with concentration. Hang on, this is gonna get rough. He banked the ship sharply, sending everyone lurching to one side. Sophie Ramirez clung to her seat, her sketchpad pressed against her chest. Could you maybe not kill us before the aliens do? Working. On it, Mac shot back, his fingers flying over the console. If I can just... The ship rocked violently as an energy bolt grazed the hull. Sparks erupted from a nearby panel, and the lights flickered. Duke Jackson, strapped into a seat behind Mac, grinned despite the chaos. You know, this is way more fun than being stuck in that chamber. Emily shot him a glare. Focus, Duke. We're not out of this yet. Harper, still weak but determined, leaned forward. We need to lose those fighters. If we can get to the asteroid field, we might be able to shake them. Mac nodded, his eyes narrowing. Asteroid field. Coming up. The ship veered sharply, plunging into a dense cluster of asteroids. The fighters followed, their pilots skilled but cautious. Mac weaved through the debris with practiced precision, the ship's engines screaming in protest. They're still on us, Emily warned, her voice tense. I know, Mac said, his tone clipped. But they're not the only ones with tricks up their sleeves. He tapped a series of commands into the console, and the ship's rear thrusters flared, releasing a cloud of metallic particles. The particles scattered, creating a dazzling burst of light that blinded the pursuing fighters. One of the ships collided with an asteroid, exploding in a fiery burst. The other veered off, its pilot struggling to regain control. Sophie let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Nice move, Mac. Don't thank me yet, Mac said, his eyes still on the controls. We're not out of the woods. The ship emerged from the asteroid field, its hull battered but intact. The station loomed in the distance, its defenses still active. Emily studied the display, her mind racing. We need to send a message to Earth. If we can get a signal through, they might be able to send help. Mac shook his head. The station's jamming our communications. Unless we can disable their signal blockers, we're on our own. Harper leaned forward, his expression thoughtful. What if we use the ship's energy core to create a pulse? It might overload their systems long enough for us to get a signal out. Emily's eyes lit up. Can you do it? Harper nodded. With Mac's help, yeah. But it'll drain the ship's power. We'll be dead in the water until the core recharges. Do it, Emily said without hesitation. We don't have a choice. Mac and Harper worked quickly, rerouting power. From the ship's systems to the energy core, the lights dimmed, and the engines sputtered as the core began to charge. 30 seconds, Mac warned. The station's defenses locked onto the ship, their weapons charging. Emily gripped the back of Mac's seat, her heart pounding. Hurry! 10 seconds, Mac said, his voice tense. The ship's core reached critical mass, its glow intensifying. Mac slammed his hand on the console, releasing the pulse. A blinding wave of energy erupted from the ship, sweeping toward the station. The station's defenses flickered and died, their weapons falling silent. The jamming signal cut out, and the ship's communication system came back online. We're clear, Mac shouted, his voice filled with triumph. Emily activated the comms, her voice steady but urgent. This is Captain Emily Carter of the Earth vessel Odyssey. We are under attack by hostile alien forces. Request immediate assistance. The response was almost immediate. This is Earth Command. We read you, Captain. Reinforcements are en route. Hold your position. The humans cheered, their relief palpable. But their celebration was short-lived. The station's main weapon, a massive energy cannon, began to power up, its glow visible even from a distance. Emily's jaw tightened. We're not out of this yet. Mac, can we take out that cannon? Mac studied the console, his expression grim. Not with the ship's weapons. But if we can get close enough, we might be able to disable it manually. Duke grinned. Manual labor? My specialty. Emily nodded. Then let's move. We've got one last job to do. The ship approached the station, its engines straining. The energy cannon's glow intensified, its power building to a critical level. Mac brought the ship in close, maneuvering expertly to avoid the station's remaining defenses. Docking in 30 seconds, Mac warned. Emily turned to the group, her expression determined. This is it. We take out that cannon, and we buy Earth enough time to mount a defense. Let's show these aliens what humans are made of. The ship docked with the station, its hatch hissing open. The humans moved quickly, their makeshifty weapons at the ready. The station's interior was eerily quiet. The aliens focused on the energy cannon. Emily led the way, her movements precise and deliberate. They reached the cannon's control room, its door sealed tight. Mac tapped at the console, his multi-tool sparking as he bypassed the lock. The door slid open, revealing a group of alien scientists frantically working at the controls. Emily raised her weapon, her voice firm. Step away from the console. The scientists froze, their eyes wide with fear. One of them, a tall insectoid figure, stepped forward. You cannot stop us. The cannon will fire, and your planet will be destroyed. Emily's eyes narrowed. We'll see about that. Mac and Harper moved to the console, their fingers flying over the controls. The cannon's power levels began to drop, its glow dimming. The alien leader hissed in frustration. You are fools. Your species is a threat to the galaxy. You must be contained. Sophie stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. We're not a threat. We're survivors, and we'll do whatever it takes to protect our home. The cannon's power levels dropped to 0, its systems shutting down. The station's lights flickered, and the alarms fell silent. Emily lowered her weapon, her expression resolute. It's over.